Good evening, everybody. Gary at Jolly Roger Ukulele. We have a fun night of ukulele ahead, and so let me give you a quick overview of everything that we're going to be doing. First, we're going to be playing the key of C arpeggio. Last week we talked about the importance of arpeggios. Play the right chord and they sound better. So we'll be doing playing through the key of C arpeggio, and it's G on baritone, of course. And then we will next dive into the chord charts. One of the ongoing dilemmas when you're a chord chart producer is how to best present those. And luckily, you know me, and I have done all of the possible chord chart configurations, finally settling on the one that makes the most sense for songwriters. And so we're going to be doing a little bit of thinking about transposing keys and songwriting and that sort of stuff. And then into book 2, we're going to play Last Rose of Summer, we're going to play Melville Castle, and we're going to play Minstrel Boy. And I have a vague recollection from last week that I was supposed to fix one of those pieces of sheet music, which I did not. And so we'll find out if it really, who knows, maybe it was perfectly fine. I don't know. Sometimes I get lost in my own thinking about this stuff. And so anyway, we're going to have a lovely time playing some music tonight. If you're watching the replay, which most of you are, thank you for taking time to check it out. There's a whole series on Jolly Roger. Takes you through book 1, takes you 30 lessons, and then you're going to be a very fine player after that. And then in addition to that, the book 2 has about, I don't know, maybe 80 songs or so in it, and those basically give you a taste of what it's like to play really fine music in a really fine way on a really fine instrument. And then after that, then you have the Jumping Flea Arpeggiator, which has 30 arpeggios in it. Probably, I mean, I know I wrote it, so I'm a tiny bit biased, but it's the best arpeggio book for ukulele ever written. It's just wonderful. And if you play all 30, you will be you will be an awesome musician. And then after that, there's another, I don't know, several hundred songs in the members section. So, and those tend to be more modern songs and more complicated and more of what you probably think you want to play on ukulele. So, lots of stuff to cover tonight, and so we're going to dive right in. First thing is I need to get logged into Jolly Roger. It says, try your Face ID again. It knows, you know who I am, iPad. We've talked about this. Try Face ID. Okay, there it is. All right. And we'll be patient while it pulls up. Okay, good. There we go. Very nice. And all right, so let's go grab the key of C arpeggio. We'll play the ukulele one first, and then we'll play the baritone one. And in there, I'll take a quick run over it one more time just to make sure you're feeling comfy with it. DGO, not DGO. Where's Jolly Roger? Jolly Roger, book 1. And I believe you guys are working off of the 2021 version, if I'm correct. You are. Okay, perfect. Okay, so you have the 2021 version. I wrote this, I think, back in 2012 or something, and I started to update them, and I got through most of them. I never quite finished all of them, but you have plenty of them. The original ones were fine. It's just that I was updating them to a more modern sheet music thing, and they need to be updated again. So we'll be working on that as soon as we have some free time. All right. First of all, obviously, grab your C chord, and remember, you can play these with your thumb, but you're not supposed to. You're supposed to play them with your claw position. Just like that, right? And so I'm being silly, but this is an arpeggio. This is not an arpeggio, right? Technically, you can probably argue that it is, but you really don't want to play it like that on a ukulele. So grab your C chord, and then we'll go nice and slow, and we'll play that first page twice, and then the second page once. 1, 2, 3, 4. G chord, F chord, G chord. Back to C chord. Pay attention to your last note here. Okay, and then go. Different pattern here. To the top of the page. Page. Two, three, four. Two, three, claw. Isn't that lovely? It's all just holding a chord and then doing something with this, right? There's nothing super incredibly complex there, but it sounds incredibly complex. And on some level, when you're a newer player, it's super crazy hard. But once you get your fingers on your right hand cooperating properly, it ends up sounding like you're really way better than you are. And I think anytime you're playing arpeggios, it's going to make you sound better. And so do them. You got 30 of them in the book, and it's wonderful. Like, by the time you get to the end, you're doing these super weird keys with super weird chord shapes, and it's a lot of fun, honestly. Okay, so now let's go take a look at the baritone version. Same exact thing. Everything's exactly the same shape-wise over here, right? The names of the chords are different. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is not tuned. I'm like, what is that sound coming out of my instrument? Oh, it's the wrong note. That's what it is. All right, there. Weather's changing, of course, and so the humidity's changing, and all of my instruments are losing their minds. That's a little better. All right, let me make sure I got it right. All right, here we go. From the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, sorry, I was getting all worried about changing the page. Ready, go. 2, 3, 4. So I always find that mistakes come in twos. Once you make one, then you're going to make a second one, just to, you know, keep things real. So anytime I make one mistake, you can count on the second one showing up. All right, let me make sure I didn't have my page turner on, and I suddenly started obsessing that it wasn't turned on. All right, that's arpeggio playing. You cannot do yourself any harm by playing a lot of arpeggios. At the end of the day, your thumb is either starting the things off and then your fingers doing something else, or your fingers are doing something else and your thumb is finishing it up. Sometimes you're on 3 strings, sometimes you're on 2 strings. This happens, right? Sometimes you're on all 4 strings, and sometimes they're going down, sometimes they're coming up, and obviously then you can mix them up as well. And I've done all of those things in that book for you. You just have to read the tabs and do them. By the time you get to the end of the Jumping Flea Arpeggiator, you will be you will be in full command of your ukulele. You will be a ukulele master. And so just do it. Just talk yourself into doing one a week, and for 30 weeks, and then send me a note and say, "Did them all, Gary." All right, that's that. Now, we'll be coming back to the key of G arpeggio and then the key of F arpeggio. So we have 2 more that are in book 1. So they're a little bit harder. They get harder after this, and so just know that getting good at this one is going to lead you to success in those others. All right, let's talk about chord charts for just a sec. And I don't know if I have the most recent one in my book. It doesn't look like it, so let me grab it off the website. When you're creating chord charts, you can put them in alphabetical order, which it makes no musical sense, but it makes them easy to find. Those are for people who are just looking up a chord that they don't know, and they need to put it into a song, or a song says, "Hey, you should play a C sharps," and you're like, "I don't know what a C sharp looks like." So you use alphabetized chord charts to do that. The problem with that is that their apps that are out there are way faster and way better at that sort of thing, and so you don't really need to have them alphabetized anymore. Just get the app and you're set. What my chord charts are designed to help you think about songwriting, and so it's a whole lot less about finding the chord and trying to figure out how to make it on your ukulele. These chord charts are, hey, look, you already know how to play ukulele. Let's find a way to make them meaningful. And so if you look at the ukulele chord chart in major keys, it's called. It was revised in July 12, 2021. And I just pulled off the website, so I'm sure I'm dealing with the most recent one. What you'll see is that they're arranged in keys. So on here you'll see some yellow or orangish color, and those are ukulele friendly keys: C, G, D, and A. Those are all keys that get along with ukulele and the shapes that you have to make pretty well. On the second page of this, you'll find F and B flat. Those are also keys that ukulele is pretty friendly with. Now, if it's not highlighted with the color, if it's just a white, like A flat, D flat, those are keys that just really are not great on ukulele, because they're always got lots and lots of bar chords and all the way up the neck and doing all sorts of crazy things that make it more difficult to play. That doesn't mean you shouldn't do them, Okay, that just means that they're going to be harder to do, and so these are arranged in keys. So we're going to start with the major keys this week. I'm sorry, we're going to start with major keys right now. Then we'll talk about minor keys. Then this week, your job will be to play through some of these. Okay, don't worry about the not ukulele friendly keys. Okay, so just the yellow ones basically, and then when you look at the columns, there's which column number 1 is colored, column 4, 5, 5, 7, and 6 are also colored, and those are the principal chords in a key. So if we're going to play in the key of C, we're going to use obviously the key of the chord C, da, 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 dum. And then we're going to use the 4th chord, which is F in this case, bum, ba, da, ba, da, da, dum. And then you can use 5 or 5, 7. They're interchangeable. I'm going to use regular 5. And then you're going to use the 6, A minor. And then go back to the 1. C, 2, 3, 4, F, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, A minor, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now these things don't work necessarily great in one order, but I'm going to teach you how to play every song from the 1950s. Okay, 1, 6, 4, 5, 1, 6, 4, 5, or 1, 6, 4, 5, 7. So if I do 1, and then I go to 6, and then I go to 4, and I go to 5 or 5, 7. Let's do 5, 7 this time, and then back to 1. Okay, so 1, 6, 4, 5. Let's do 1, 6, 4, 5, 7. 1, 6, 4, 5, 7th. Don't do 7. 7's this, right? And you're like, what in the world is going on there? We're not even going to talk about diminished chords right now. But if we were going to talk about them, we're talking about them like this. That's the tie the girl to the railroad track, and have the guy in the guy with the mustache ties her to the railroad track, and then the guy with the white hat comes and saves her. That's this. That's what the diminished chords are for. That's the entire purpose of them. There's no other reason to have diminished chords. I just freaked out my camera. Hold on. Okay, there. All right. So again, it's 1 to 6 minor, to 4, to 5, 7, back to C. And when I say it's every song from the 50s, just listen to it. Song from the 50s has exactly the same chord progression. So then what you're talking about is, all right, so I get it. It's 1, 6, 4, 5 or 5, 7. 1, 6, 4, 5, 7. 5 and 7 is with the same thing, right? 5 sevenths. Sounds pretty good. But what if we did it in the key of G? Right? Key of G. Oh, now we have a little higher way. So, because if I'm in C, I'm going to sing way down here to get into the C chord. But now if I want to start in G, I've got to sing a little bit higher. Okay, and that won't always be the case. Sometimes you'll end up singing lower, even lower, because I've got to be under the G, under the G, under the G. And then I'm going to go to the 6, which is E minor. And then to C, that's the 4. And then the 5, 7 here is D7. And then back to the original chord. So listen to it again. It's not going to sound like the 50s, but just a little bit different pitch. You now know how to write lots and lots of music. Lots and lots of music are built up of 1, 6, 4, 5. And how I want you to think about this is if I take my hand and I take this finger, okay? Whatever chord I put here is on number 1, that's on your thumb. 2 is on your index finger, 3 is on your middle finger, 4, big important one, is on your ring finger, 5 or 5/7 is on your 5th finger, and then this finger holds that elusive 6 minor. Okay, so when I'm thinking about songwriting, these are going to be my main chords: 1, 4, 5, and 6. And I promise you guys, from Bach up to whoever wrote a popular song yesterday, they're all using this same system. It takes, you got to go into art sounds and artists who are really pushing the outer limits of sound harmonies in order for this not to be true. So popular music, this is almost always what's going on in them. Now, what about these other columns? What do you do with those? So if I'm working in the key of D, let's say I'm in D, and now I'm learning that 6, 4, and 5/7 are important. D goes to B minor. You can hear that already, right? That's Stand By Me. Then I go to G chord, and then A7. D, 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 and B minor, and then G, and A7, and finish up on D. Okay, so now you know how this chord chart works. 1, 6, 4, 5/7. Okay, you can always substitute 5 for 5/7. Always. Most of the time you can substitute 5/7 for 5, but not always. And then 4, if you were writing a simpler song, you would drop 6. That's usually the first one you drop, and just use 1, 4, and 5. So when you see the guy in the bar who seems like he can play everything, he's really laying hard into 1, 4, and 5 to get the songs out of his guitar while he sings. Basically, I watch every single guitarist that's a singer on TV. They are always using 1, 4, 5, and occasionally you'll see a 6 mixed in there. And they're singing over the top of these very basic chord patterns, and it sounds great. It works. Absolutely works. The other columns are cool sounds that will probably sound okay with it. So if I'm in D, and I want to toss in an E minor somewhere, sounds a little jarring, but not a lot. And I can also get an F sharp minor in there. Now, one thing that you'll struggle with is the diminished. And back to D. So they work, but not in the same way. So if the first song that I ever put on the internet started with F. Okay, well, let's just flip over to page 2, and you'll see it's the key of F, right? So I used take me down to the, then I put in a B flat, which is the 4, emergent, and then I went back to F, C room, back to B flat. All right, so no, I gotta finish the F chord. Where they love me, put the B flat on, just the way I, look at there, C7, M. And then I was like, okay, I want to have a different feeling, but I want to stay in the same key because I'm not smart enough as a musician to know what else to do. So I went to D minor now. Broken toes. I went to G minor. Runny nose. Back to D minor. Runny nose. Then I went to A. What did I go from there? A minor, I think. No, I think I went to A7. They love me with all of, and then back to D minor. Those. So I substituted in one chord that doesn't belong in the key to get that. So I used the A7 instead of A minor to get me back to the D minor. Okay. So in other words, I'm sticking with 1, 4, 5. But then when I do a second part of the song, I'm looking at these other chords saying, what can I do to arrange them to make them make sense inside of that song? So when you're thinking about working this week, I want you to work on just the orange keys, C, G, D, and A. Okay, because we'll practice all of those next week. We'll mix up some goofy songs in the moment. Okay, and I think the hardest one you'll find is B flat. B flat goes to E flat goes to F, back to B flat, And if I want to add in a bridge, then I use the G minor and take it up to C minor. Maybe use a D minor, maybe use a D minor and go back to B flat. Okay, so those are the kinds of things you do using the horizontal arrangements of the chords. And that's why they're on the paper this way, is to be used as songwriters. So it's less helpful if you just need to go look up a chord for somebody else's song that you're playing, as opposed to, hey, I want to make my own music and I want to use certain chords. I will tell you what I have found in teaching songwriting is you start off with one chord, one key, man, and you say, all right, these are my chords. I'm going to stick with them. I'm going to turn them into something. And it's usually about rhythm, right? C, 2, 3, 4, F, 2, 3, 4, G, 2, 3, back to C, 2, 3, 4. And then you have a song, okay? And so we have 6 songs that you could write in major, okay? Now swing down to page 3. Minor keys work essentially the same way, However, there's a couple of things that are very cool about minor keys. First, the cool thing is if you look up at number 6, it's a major. So if I'm playing an A minor, A minor, A minor, A minor, and then I use my 6, I go to F. Now from F, I can go a lot of places. So that's why it's kind of cool. The 6th column contains major chords. They're very, very flexible with changing ideas. And so a lot of times, Beethoven's a king of this, where you're playing along in one key, all of a sudden you're in another key. You don't even know how you got there, right? And that's because he's using these tools, using these chords as springboards into another idea. It happens all the time. It's very, very common. And then the other thing that I kind of think is fun is that column 2, column 3, and column 7 are really hard to work into songs. And so you get extra credit if you can figure out how to get a B diminished in here or a C augmented. That's what the plus stands for, augmented. Augmented chords are very uncommon. You don't see them a lot. You do see diminished chords a lot, and especially on ukulele and Tin Pan Alley songs, they use diminished quite a bit. But listen to the difference in character of this. If I just do 1, 6, 4, 5 again, okay, 1, 6, 4, 5. I'm playing a sad song. It's such a sad song. I'm sorry, I started with the wrong shape. Let me go with A minor. There we go. I was like, why that doesn't sound right. This is a sad song. Oh, it's a sad song. You're not going to believe how sad this song really is. A minor, F, D minor, and E7. Okay, so the minor keys are going to sound sad. They're going to sound scary or important or something. They're going to sound very different than the major keys. And if I sit down to write a tune, my first thought is I want to get in that minor feeling as soon as I can, because I know I've got that 6 waiting up there with a major key to bail me out of any trouble I might write myself into. Look at E minor, for example. E minor goes to C major, goes to A minor, goes to B7. Don't you feel like this really needs to go back to? Okay, so same columns, but very different feelings in the songs that would come out. On the minor keys, you have A minor and E minor are friendly keys in ukulele, and then D minor, G minor, and C minor are also really cooperative keys on ukulele. When we talk about cooperative keys, ukulele is pretty flexible, but it doesn't really like certain keys just because of how hard they are to play the chords in those keys. So if you're looking at the 4th page of this and you see F minor, it's not a ukulele friendly key. It's still going to sound pretty good. There's F minor. That's the scariest chord on ukulele. Here's F minor, and then we go all the way up to D flat. Okay, and that's like, what is going on? Then I'm going to come back to B flat minor, up to C or C7. right? So it's a cool key. There's nothing wrong with the key. It's just it just doesn't. The way the ukulele is arranged is just not quite as easy to get to and to think about it. So a lot of times, if you're looking to be creative and trying to write a song that's different, you would look at these less ukulele-friendly keys. I think ukulele is a great instrument to write music on. It takes out all of the nonsense that goes along with songwriting, like walking bass lines or jazz chords, right? All that stuff can sort of be done on this instrument, but what you really are thinking about is, I just need to get the big picture of the song. I need to write this song real fast. I just got to shower, have a tune in my head, got to put some chords to it, get it kind of down on paper. You can always then take that basic framework and take it over the piano, the guitar, the bassoon, or whatever it is you like to play on, and then fix it up, basically, right? And so you have 5 minor keys that I would get comfy with, and 6 major keys, and they're going to be just beautiful. You're going to love them, okay? And you're thinking it not as a performer. Most of you buy ukulele and you're like, I want to learn to play that thing. And what most people do is they go, somewhere over the rainbow, however it goes, and then they quit, right? And then that's what they did. But it's a bigger world in music, right? We're hanging out on Jolly Roger, you find out how to really play the ukulele and stop singing, and then I tell you, oh, by the way, that's not really what we're wanting to do here. We're wanting you to make your own music from scratch, and in order to do that, you really need to spend a little bit of time understanding how chords and keys work together. We'll be looking at the circle of fifths to see how that also simplifies what I'm talking about here. I think that's next week, if I remember right. So circle of fifths is always a little confusing when you first attack it, and we're going to fix that next week, okay? All right, there we go. Books 1 and Book 2. This week, your job on the chord charts is to get comfy with the orange keys and the green keys, okay? And you don't need to know every chord on this page. That's crazy. I think I might know every chord on this page. I don't necessarily, but I can figure them out with some basic chord manipulation. But what I do know is that the ones that are in green are going to come up in your life anyway, so you might as well just do something with them and turn them into some music that you've created. It's actually pretty fun. It's pretty terrible in the beginning. The more you do it, the better you get, kind of thing. All right, so there's your ukulele chords in keys. Let's see, and I do not have this in my book, so I'm going to put it in my book right now. Where's the baritone one? Baritone, same exact thing. Your colors are different, okay? And by the way, baritone has actually got some keys that it's better in that appear to be the same as ukulele, but you'll see they're arranged differently. So baritone, they also have 6 keys, but the first 5 are on page 1, and then there's only 1 on page 2, because B flat is not friendly at all on baritone. Looks like on my baritone chord chart there's still a bunch of guitar chords on here. I have to go fix that this week. Goodness sakes, I thought I had this done. Obviously not. What are those guitar chords doing in there? Guitar, bad. I'll fix that this week. Let me make myself a note. Because I think I was supposed to fix something else from last week and I didn't. Let me go back to, whoops, undo, hit that. All right, now right here, dink, guitar chords, out. Now, as you guys know that are baritone players, the guitar chords are the same. What? It says I'm inactive. No, I am not sure. Okay, something happened on my screen there. Hopefully I'm still broadcasting. Am I still broadcasting? Let me see if I show up. Okay, I do. Just really delayed for some reason. All right, so then there's your keys in chords. I'll fix the baritone one this week. Sorry, I don't know how. I thought I had all those guitar chords out there. You can tell what I did. I copied the guitar one into baritone and started changing the chords in baritone, and must have gotten distracted by the Brady Bunch or something. And but baritone players know that your tuning is the same as guitar, so you can use these chords as they are. You just don't play the top 2 strings. All right, let's play some music. going to be playing Last Rose of Summer, Melville Castle, and Minstrel Boy. Okay? Jolly Roger, Book 2. First one is Last Rose of Summer. Dun, dun, dun. Where are you, Last Rose of Summer? On ukulele. Let's see how we do. Play down to 16, come back to the top, play to the bottom, skipping 16. 1, 2. To the top. Second ending. Isn't that pretty? That's just a really nice song. Like it should be much better known than it is. And it's very sad. He's pulling the last rose off the bush, and all of his compatriots are dead and gone. And yeah, just lovely. All right. D. So last week, I knew as I left last week, I was like, I don't think I told them the truth. These chords are fine. I was having, if you play a lot of ukulele baritone, ukulele baritone, ukulele baritone, you start to get into the opposite brain that you're supposed to be in. And so this is a D chord on ukulele, but it's an A chord on baritone. And if I look at these, I'm like, oh, yeah, no, these are fine. These are fine. I don't know what I was doing last week. Everything's fine. All right. Also notice I'm playing the first time through in claw position, second time through in thumb. Really good idea for you to do it that way because you get good at both. Okay, so let's play it this way. 1, 2. Top. chord for as long as you possibly can, and you'll end up with a nice finish on things. Okay, so there's that. I'm going to go through and erase fix because they're perfectly fine. And then we're going to pat ourselves on the back. Good job on Last Rose of Summer. Move it along. Out of here. All right, well, let's take a look at Melville Castle. Did I put it in the book? I did. Melville Castle. I got Baritone wrapped around me right now, so let's play that one first. We have one more week on Melville Castle, so let's just see how well we're doing with it right now. Oh, Willie's gone to Melville Castle, boots and spurs and all, to bid the ladies all farewell before he goes to war. Oh, Willie's young and blithe and bonny, loved by one and all. Oh, what will all the lassies do when Willie's gone to war? And then it repeats a million times. We will play it 2 times through, right? So we'll play down to measure 8, and then we'll come back and play it a second time and skipping measure 8. Okay, that's good enough. Goes on and on and on. The poor ladies over at the castle are just devastated that Willie's going to war. They are not. They're just wishing he'd get going. All right, let's try with thumb first. If it's going well, we'll switch to claw. 1, 2, 3. Top. Let's try claw shape. Go. The faster you can play this one, the better. But we don't play super fast online because there's no point when we're learning a song, right? When we're learning, we're just like, I'm just going to try to survive this and not cry. I think it's such a cute little song. There really is a real Melville Castle. You can go and spend the night there. I don't know if they play ukulele up there. I should send them a copy of this. Hey, do you know you guys are famous? All right, ukulele version. I think it's same thing. Start with your thumb, and then we'll switch to claw. 1, 2, 3. Whoops. so I noticed in measure 2 on the ukulele one, I have 3 here and 2 5s up here. Okay, and in measure 2 on the baritone, I have the exact same thing. All right, so I just played it wrong the first time. All right, so really lovely little tune. Feels very swashbuckly and kind of like you should, I don't know, go sailing. I'm listening to Moby Dick on Books on Tape right now, and I'm all about going for a sail to murder a whale. All right, don't murder whales. Don't have anything to do with whales. You know better. All right, then this week we're going to dive into Minstrel Boy. It's another kind of a protest song. We've got 10 minutes. I think we can get it through on both instruments, just to give you a sense of how this one goes. This one is a little bar chordy, not bad, right? But it does, there's places where you're like, oh shoot, I wish it was a little less bar chordy. But it'll be fine. And but we were talking earlier in book 1 about keys, right? F, B flat. There's 1, 4, C chord, 5, and back to 1. Okay, and do we have the 6 in here at all? We don't even have the 6 in here. We have a D minor in here. See what they did? And so you're going along, everything's going great, and then he slides that D minor in there at measure 11. Well, D minor is the 6th. So there's a perfect example of what we were talking about in book 1. Those chord keys aren't an accident, right? They make sense. It's going to turn it into this song. All right. The minstrel boy to the war is gone. In the ranks of death you will find him. His father's sword it has girded on, and his wild harps long behind him. Land of song, said the warrior bard, and all the world betrays thee. One sword at least thy right shall guard, one faithful harp shall praise thee. Sort of, right? You know I can't sing, but that gives you the general idea of what you're trying to get out. Okay? If you're a good singer, these are lovely. This is a lovely key to sing in. All right. Okay. Tough Fugue's going to sound like this. 1, 2, 3. Things change. Second ending. Yep. Get your technique right, Gary. So the bar chords there are not exactly easy, and they're definitely solidly book 2, right? We don't talk about these kind of things in book 1 because it'll make people sad and they'll cry. But once you get to book 2, you're like, all right, part of what I do. Remember, when you hit those bar chords, if they're not sounding great, they're not supposed to. You're still learning how to play. Okay? If they sound like clunk, it just means you got to spend a little bit more time. They'll come around. They really will. Bar chords always come around. Unless you quit. Don't quit. It's a lovely activity. All right, on baritone, let's see what we come up with. Okay, one time through. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoops. 1, 2, 3. Second ending. Okay, and of course work on that with both thumb down and your claw plucking, and I think you'll end up with a really nice tune. I usually like to do, as when I'm practicing, one time through with my thumb and one time through with my claw. That's sort of how I do most prepping for a presentation. And then, but if I was really giving a concert, I'd pick one of those that sound better and stick with that, right? Or I would try to do one for part of the song and one for another part of the song, and not just do it all one way one time and all the other way the other time. But I need to know how to play it both ways with claw and thumb in order to have the choices that I need to have down the road. So, all right, so that's Minstrel Boy. We'll be working on that the next couple of weeks. I'll add on some other stuff. I'll fix that baritone chord chart. I apologize. That was obviously me falling asleep in the middle of an activity and not completing the activity. Have you ever done that? I've done that. And I will see you guys tomorrow for the Beatles stuff. Tomorrow we're looking at In My Life. We're finishing up In My Life. That's a really pretty straightforward song to play. Then we're playing Let It Be, which is way harder than you want it to be. I don't know. I guess I'm not that enthusiastic about the song. But then we're starting Michelle, and I love Michelle. It's got a little bit of a jazz feeling to it, and so definitely come check that out. You have to be a Jolly Roger member to do those songs. So, and they're worth it. There's 550, 600 songs somewhere in there, songs on the website. Most of them are in the members section. So, it's a little bit of money. I'm not getting rich off of it. You're not getting poor off of it, but it is a little bit of money to help support, because the expensive websites are expensive. So the ones that so you get it. So thank you guys for being here. If you're watching the recording, let me know. Toss me an email and say, hey Gary, I saw you recording, you're terrible. Whatever, I don't care, just let me know you watched. And I can tell if you watch from the YouTube back shop, but I don't, but I'd love to hear from you. JollyRogerUkulele.com. I'm Gary. Peace.